Forward, march.
Let's go get them ribs.
1, 2, 1.
My dearest Annie, joining this army was a terrible mistake. The captain makes us hydrate until we're sick. The other men make fun of my soft, womanly hands. War is hell. Love, Conan.
Company hop. Shoulder, arm. Forward, march. Company, halt, halt. Fire, fire! Let's go! What the hell are you doing? I don't know. I thought you guys would go with me. What are you putting your freaking hand cream on? You sons of bitches! Pour it in them, boys! Pour it in them! Don't worry, Captain. I got this. Run! Run, you sons of bitches!
Conan's
Good
definitely
morning.
ginger, right? Like he's the best ginger you guys have, right?
I mean, depends on the category, I guess.
So we're still waiting for the ginger hierarchy. Where does Conan O'Brien fall on the ginger hierarchy?
I told you I need like a scale. I need like what we're talking about, categories, all this stuff.
Like you're the ginger.
I
We
don't
were
know
leaving it
what,
to you.
Right,
is
we
Conan?
don't know. Look how dark my hair is.
So what? I mean, what's Conan O'Brien? He used to be funny. Is he still funny? I haven't checked him out in a long time.
I don't know. I never watched his show much. I just know he was a writer on The Simpsons back in the good old days. So
Back in the golden age of The Simpsons, huh?
yeah, the first,
So
10
he gets
seasons.
He gets points for that. I don't know if he went woke recently, like most of the late night guys did. Maybe not as much as like Kimmel and them.
Yeah, I haven't heard much from him. Is he even still on?
He might not be. I did see him on that show, that Murderville show. Did you guys watch that? There are like 6 episodes on Netflix, and it's like a comedy where, I can't remember the main actor, but he has like some famous dude try to help solve a murder, like each different episode. And Conan was like the first episode, and then Marshawn Lynch was the second. And it's funny.
Marshawn Lynch didn't commit the murder?
No, he did not. It's like 50-50, like improv versus like serious acting.
You talk about The Simpsons or Murderville?
Murderville.
Season 5 and 8.
No,
Murderville.
Steven. No, I don't know. I think he's talking about Simpsons.
Yeah, those are pretty solid. Pretty solid indeed. After like season 10, I can't anymore.
Where you cut.
Sorry, I'm a purist.
So what happened in season 11?
It just gets where like every episode has a celebrity in it. Suddenly Homer's helping Mel Gibson write a new movie and shit instead of like back in the original seasons where it's just small town shit happening in their town, It's just everything just has to get to be something, and Homer goes from being like definitely good seasons. Homer gets to be like going from, I don't even just like the first like 4 seasons are like really like grimy, like Springfield's really grimy. There's bums everywhere. It's just gross, and it just starts to develop more like a kid show, I guess, instead of an early 90s Dirty Fox show.
Well, that's unfortunate.
Yeah.
I do wonder what
I think I only.
I wonder what this show would be like. Simp Scions. Might be worth a watch. Sorry, Steven.
Well, Mark knows all about being a simp. So
What? Never mind.
tell us about Lana Del Rey. Is Lana Del Rey a ginger?
Her hair looks red-ish, but I think she has more of the freckleless face. So I don't know if she's a pure ginger.
So she's like one of those. So she's like the light-skinned Jamaicans. Like she's one of those socially acceptable gingers.
Something like that. I like how our viewers right now might be confused as to why we're leading with a Civil War act. And we jumped
well, I
in
guess
talking about The Simpsons and
Why
my
would
girl
that
Lena.
way?
yeah, I guess I could open us up with the headliner for today's show. And see, it would have been better if we had Clyde here because he rounds it out. Because it's not particular, it's not Civil War per se, but Ron DeSantis says a Cold War is coming between Florida and Georgia if Stacey Abrams is elected governor. And if Florida and Georgia are having a Cold War, then that means Dag and Clyde are going to engage in a civil war here on the show.
It is funny. It says like Cold War, and we just instantly go to Civil War anyhow. Maybe it's because that's like there's more. I don't know. The Cold Wars were like, yeah, get them Ruskies. I mean, yeah, there were people back in those days, but even like now, I can be like, fuck you, Yankee. So, it just works.
And, it really works because Clyde is actually a Yankee. He's just been transplanted into Georgia. So
he's trying to fit in. God bless him.
He does seem to try to play that role, his new role.
He was even deeply hurt by the idea that if we were going to have a civil war, he would have to be the Yankee.
I mean, I do feel bad for him because I know that you're trying to play both sides here, Justin. But if it's Stacey Abrams versus Ron DeSantis, I think we're all on the same side, all three of us.
And poor Clyde can't stand Stacey, but he has to like.
he might need to get out while he still can.
He has to be on her side for this.
Yeah.
Oh, poor Clyde is awesome.
He would be one of those traitorous northern sympathizers, or I guess in this case, southern sympathizers.
I was trying to find a good clip of it. Just came up the other day. But the Battle of Shroot Farms in The Office.
That was intense. Yeah,
that Mark. Where all the sissies and dandies went to hide out during the Civil War to practice poetry and shit. Awesome.
Yeah, he was so mad when he found out the real battle. What?
Oh yeah, there's not a good clip of it though. I tried to find one.
No, it's hard. It's getting harder and harder to find Office clips on YouTube. Your best bet is to find like deleted scenes. You can find like entire episodes of The Office that are all like deleted scenes, or like mini episodes, like 8 to 10 minutes or so.
Oh no shit!
Or you used to be able to. Maybe those have been purged too, but it was like a whole new season of The Office.
I mean, most good shows it's hard to find on YouTube these days, like clips of like Saturday Night Live. They're taking all them down. It's a bummer.
I was never an SNL person.
Did y'all see this gold line here? If Stacey Abrams is elected governor of Georgia, I just want to be honest, that'll be a Cold War between Florida and Georgia. I can't have former Cuban communist leader Raul Castro to my south and Abrams to my north. That would be a disaster. So I hope you guys take care of that, and we'll end up in good shape.
Wasn't she talking some shit that if she's governor, she's going to try to influence Florida politics or something? Didn't she say something like that? And that's what this is probably like about.
That would not be surprising coming from her mouth.
Probably so. Of course, none of mainstream media is going to run with any of that. They're just going to talk about whatever DeSantis has to say and then spin it in the worst light possible.
Do you think they're really, really going to like try to rig this election for her in Georgia? Not just because that's things that they do, but also because they see what they did with the Biden-Kamala presidency, and so they're like, well, Stacey's not much smarter than them, so we're going to have to just give her the governorship, or else she's going to be trying to go for the presidency.
They're going to have a lot of trouble.
Rigging
it, yes. So Georgia was one of the states that had a number of people elected to both county and state election boards in 2021, and those election boards determine how this will go. Like, they'll be the ones who count. They'll be the ones who are in charge of verifying that ballots are done properly, that voters are registered properly, all that stuff. So they're going to be the ones who are enforcing all of the ridiculously racist voter restrictions that the Democrats have been crying about for the last year. And Georgia is also a state that had additional, and they're not restrictions, but that's the way they get played off.
Hey, you can't give people water standing in line.
Yeah.
That's basically oppression.
Yeah, but Georgia is one of the states that had some additional stuff that went into effect that'll be part of this 2022 election. With the way that registrations are done, the way that voting by mail is done, the way that verifying that you are who you are is done. So it's going to be tough for them to pull this a second time, because Georgia is one of the states that has had a lot of stuff happen in the wake of 2020 to prevent that from being possible a second time around. Now, granted, when you've got Atlanta and Fulton County, which can very easily swing the entire state, there's still a possibility for some shenanigans, but Georgia has taken a lot of major steps to prevent that. So we'll see.
And we can actively, openly talk about rigged elections in Georgia because Stacey is the one to first bring them up.
Yes,
So we're good here.
She's actually running for re-election. She just hasn't been allowed to take her rightful seat.
She won back in 2018, but it's been working from her home, like everyone else.
Yeah.
Politics.
I knew Dag's like face glossed over as we were talking about this.
I mean, go for it by all
He's
means.
just like,
it's just hard for me. I just cannot even say it. I'm just like, I don't know. I just get lost there.
Well, speaking of politics,
segue.
Yeah. What do I think about this? The shift in congressional preference.
I mean, everyone was pointing. I mean, every comment on Twitter I saw was abolish the 19th Amendment and all that. Which, sure, yeah.
That's because we're all playing a part. Like it's a shtick. If there are people who legitimately get pissed off whenever they see that, and it's like it's a shtick. Calm the fuck down. We're not saying that. I mean, yes, we do. Obviously, women shouldn't be allowed to vote, but like we're not saying to abolish the 19th Amendment. Hey.
The thing that stood out to me the most was actually the top line. That's a pretty amazing shift in just 4 years.
Yeah, like the men with no degree, you kind of expect that, I guess. I don't know. I don't want to say that. It sounds like.
Is this supposed to say how people are voting for Congress based on so if you're a man and you have no college degree, this is how you're voting for people? Is this what I'm looking at?
Yes, generally speaking.
Well, if we let this guy pointing at the thing tell us,
men in college are now voting more for Republicans than they were in 2018.
Right.
Is that what I'm seeing? Okay.
A 26 point. Wait, no, that doesn't make sense to me. The math there. Just kidding. Yes, it does. It took a second.
I was about to say it's pretty basic math.
Yeah, disregard. Move on. It makes sense now.
So how about this? The third one though.
I mean, typically MSNBC is bad at math. This is where the whole Jeff Bezos is could give $1 million to every single resident in the U.S. and they're like, oh yeah, that's a great point.
Yeah.
I think that was MSNBC.
Yeah, for what?
It was Bloomberg, I think. Yeah.
Oh, was it Bloomberg?
Yeah, I think when he was doing his campaign or whatever, and I'm sure they made the same mistake. But I remember seeing that and go, "Wow, $1 million a person." I'm like, "Wait a minute, no, that's not how that works."
I'm horrible at math, but my first instinct was this isn't right.
Something about this. I can't tell you what's wrong with this, but this isn't right.
That's not correct.
Well, yeah, that's for what Elon Musk bought Twitter for. He could have given everybody $1 million and just ended all of ended all student debt.
That's a great point.
Those people obviously didn't get their money's worth in their student debt.
Did you see Elon turned down his invitation to the board of Twitter.
Yeah, so that was somebody said that was actually a good move on his part.
I did see that, yeah, because if you're on the board, you can only buy up to 15% of shares of Twitter. If you're off, you can buy much, much more than that.
So he still gets so not being on the board, just being a shareholder, he still gets to influence how they do things.
He's still the highest holder of shares.
Because wouldn't that be like the point of him getting on there is to somehow influence it? Or I thought that was the idea.
I'm not sure what the like the more indirect influence or how like that kind of results, but this is what people are insinuating, that he could have a greater influence without being on a board of 12 wokies.
Right. So being on the board, he can only own up to like 14.9%. He can't cross the 15% threshold. Whereas if he is not on the board, he could effectively buy 51% and then just do away with the board and run it himself.
Oh,
yeah, he can go like by not taking a board seat. He doesn't have the shackles of a share cap, and he could go full hostile takeover. Which nice. I am all for hostile takeovers. I am like that. That just sounds like fun.
I think what you could see is like obviously him increasing his shares, but maybe like Peter Thiel getting in on it too, to where they like combined owned 51%.
Yeah, I think it's more likely that it would be a conglomeration.
It seems like a lot of shares, 51% for. I mean, he maybe has the money. I don't know.
I mean, what was the number? It was like $3 million or $3 billion. Sorry, is what he had spent to get up to the 9% ownership. So he's worth like 250.
Yeah.
So it's not out of. And for what, with his $3 billion that he spent to buy his 9% share of Twitter, he could have given every American $1 million and ended world hunger. Oh no, wait, he could have given every American $9.
I mean, it's a step.
I mean that barely gets you a combo meal at McDonald's these days.
Oh fuck, man, it's bad. You know,
I remember Chick-fil-A the other day, and it was like $9 for a meal, and I was like, I remember
Chick-fil-A is
like
fucking
$5.
expensive. The Lord's chicken is overpriced and
really?
Small portions. Like Zaxby's is where it's at.
Down here, Chick-fil-A is cheaper than everywhere else.
That's because you're right next to the source. You've got it.
I guess
they're in Georgia, so
I don't remember it being $9 though. That was.
I get the chicken like wholesale right there from the Chick-fil-A headquarters.
That's where we're going to start suffering with this Cold War. Then, is my Chick-fil-A is going to go up, huh?
Dave Casey himself. No, that's Dan Cathy. Never mind.
Because if George was holding all the chicken,
is that where most of the chickens are?
I think a lot of them are there.
Are they?
That's what.
I mean, Clyde's got a lot, right? So
we got a couple.
I have enough chickens for me.
Yeah,
to make my own.
I'm gonna have to start getting some Chick-fil-A recipes offline and start making it myself.
Are you a regular frequenter of Chick-fil-A?
I mean, maybe not regular, but yeah, I enjoy them. Again, for the price and the quality, it's nice. The downside is they're just so damn polite. It's almost like a pain in the ass. Yes, it's your pleasure. I get it.
You feel like obligated to be super polite back to them.
It is hard.
Have the worst day ever.
Not feel a little better when I come out of there, you know. But no, I like it. You know, back when I was more of like a boycotter or whatever, I didn't even know what the deal was with them and the gay folk, you know. But I was like, I don't want to eat no Chick-fil-A, you know. And now I'm just, once you start trying to do that but too much, you learn that every company funds something you hate, you know. So it's like, fuck it, I just go with who gives me good service and good products for the most part. I try my best to go with smaller, but you know.
I worked with a she to a he transgender person, and he frequently went to Chick-fil-A, and I was like, you guys aren't serious about this. Like, even you are going through this line. He's like, yeah, I really hate for what they stand for, blah, blah. I was like, but you like the chicken.
But I didn't even really think, once I really looked into it, I was like, they didn't even really have, like,
Chick-fil-A
didn't have an official stance on anything.
No.
Dan
Wasn't like-
Cathy donated money to
It's all fake
a
outrage.
Christian
Yeah.
organization that has also been historically known to be opposed to gay rights, and so that was what the whole thing was. Like my kids even said that one time. I was like, or told me about that.
They said it was gay.
They said no. They
People
said
are
the Chick-fil-A was anti-gay. I was
Oh.
like, no, number one, that's not right, and number two,
I feel as though they were.
your mom's gay and y'all eat there all the time. So like,
Yeah,
how
I
is
think they
this?
were being
Like,
fed
is
lines.
there really a problem? Like, yeah, your mom is gay and I'm not, and she takes you to eat there like infinitely more than I do, because I kind of try to avoid Chick-fil-A like the plague. Like the best chicken is Zaxby's, and
Zaxby's is all right. I just never feel good after I eat it.
So here's the issue with Michigan. You guys
The
have
nibble-
a lot of chicken places to go to. We didn't get Chick-fil-A till what, like 4 years ago or so. So our options were KFC and like one Popeyes in the whole state.
You guys got Maryland fried chicken?
No, I have
Cereal?
not even heard of this. But
Oh,
I know,
man.
like I've been to like Cane's and like Justin said, Zaxby's. I was like, we don't have any of this stuff up here.
If you ever see a Maryland fried chicken, stop and get some of that shit. It's like pressure fucking fried and peanut oil and shit. It's so good. And they're
I
usually
will-
pretty scary to go into. So that's
I
always
will be traveling south in a week, so if I see one, like we're stopping here.
do you have a
Yeah.
church? Do you have a church's chicken?
No, we don't have that either. I've had that
good.
as well.
The
No.
biscuits.
Mm-hmm.
I think
Yeah,
I do
church.
remember the
There was
biscuits.
there was like a ranking of like fast food joints, and Church's Chicken like ranked dead bottom in terms of like cleanliness and stuff like that. But like the
It's usually a
food
good
was,
sign.
it's like, yeah, I'm
For the
not
quality of the
here
food.
for the I'm not here for the ambiance or the clean floors. Like I'm here for the biscuits and the chicken. Like I'm trying to have a heart attack. I don't give a shit if like the floor I fall on is dirty or not.
We do have Long John Silver's, but you can't tell the difference between their chicken and their fish.
You can't.
That's every Long John Silver's. That's not just yours.
No, I'm saying like in general. Like
Just
the last time I was there,
big
I got
basket
like a platter of
fried
both, and I was like, I
shit.
don't know what is what.
just beer battered grease.
The
Oh,
trick
man.
is you dip them in ketchup, and the chicken doesn't taste right in ketchup, but the fish does. So that's how you can figure out which is which.
There's not a whole lot that does taste right in ketchup. Let's be honest.
I used to work
Oh,
at a
and
warehouse.
I figured out why chicken is so much cheaper down in the South for Dag. The 10 biggest chicken producing states. Number 1 is Georgia. Number 2 is Alabama, and number 3 is North Carolina. So you are right there in the heart of chicken country.
Hell yeah.
But if a Cold War starts up and alliances are starting to form, then that trade between state lines.
Y'all better saddle
Be a
up with
little rough.
Alabama.
Yeah, I'm already claiming Alabama. Georgia don't get them.
Yeah, I could see North Carolina allying with Georgia though.
They're on the other side of Georgia from us. What can I do, man?
Yeah.
You know, I can't make a run across that border. So
You gonna recruit Louisiana on your side too, or
I'll take Louisiana.
right.
Hell yeah, get that redneck Navy in there. Shit,
those,
yeah.
those Cajuns, a little nuts.
So interestingly
They're
enough,
actually my
with this
people,
list,
so.
Delaware and Maryland come in number 8 and 9, which actually, from like I understand that makes sense. Purdue Chicken is one of the. I think Purdue is like the 4th largest chicken producer in the country. I used to work for them, and they are primarily centered out of Maryland and Delaware, so that makes sense.
So easy
I'm
to
assuming
forget
this
Delaware.
Maryland place is out of Maryland as well.
What?
I'm assuming the Maryland place Dag was talking about is Maryland based.
Yeah, that always confused me because I don't. Maybe they're up north too, but they're down here, like in small towns, like in kind of ghetto-y parts of town. So I was always kind of surprised that like Maryland fried chicken was the thing. But hey, it seems like an older chicken chain. All the stores look old, like they were built in the 50s or something.
Nice.
Really old. Yeah. I was saying I used to work at this warehouse, and me and like my friend were the only white dudes who worked there. And one day the warehouse, I guess, bought us all lunch, and it was churches. And dear God, the excitement among our coworkers was insane. Like I've never seen anything like, oh shit, dog, they got churches, and they're all just like lurking for a while before they let us go eat it. It was hilarious.
Yeah, I would have like work crews when I was down in Mississippi and Louisiana, and I'd go to Popeyes and get lunch for like the crew, and because they've got the best mashed potatoes and gravy, and then all this like. So I would just go get like this big lunch for everybody in the day. Oh hell yeah! Like get excited about Popeyes. It's like y'all live here, like you get Popeyes all the time. But you could I guess in theory go get Popeyes whenever you want. But,
yeah, but when you got people, when you got your work paying for it, bringing it to work, I mean, it's just it tastes almost better that way than going through the drive-thru and getting it yourself.
I like chicken places. They have coleslaw, and it's like the only like vegetable you can get at a fast food place. So, I can like go to a chicken place and be like, all right, I feel good about myself. A big thing of fried chicken and some coleslaw, so it's healthy.
Yeah, Popeyes does some vegetable. They have like green beans. It's green beans and like bacon, the little bacon pieces. There's more bacon in there than the green beans, but
hell yeah.
You can get corn.
I think you get greens from Popeyes too.
Greens can be good. They're done right. I mean, pretty good.
Canned
greens aren't bad, right out the can. I mean, heated, but
Yeah, they're not bad.
Speaking of chicken, have y'all heard about all the like there's a new round of bird flu going around? So like there are actually places that have had to like kill off entire barns because of bird flu going through some chicken places and stuff.
I did see something about that. Like this is the new thing, the new scare.
Mm-hmm. Well, it happens like every year or something.
Right, like right, like there's a big deal being made of it because we're in post-COVID looking for the next pandemic. But like,
we have PTSD. Understandably so.
The bird flu thing is literally something that happens like at least every other year. Like it and usually it's no worse than it is right now. Like it's
it's only industrial chicken factories that have a problem with it.
Right.
So no worse than it is right now means that it's a little bit more potent than COVID, but not as potent.
But it's like like we were saying, there's only like the big industrial chicken houses that get it. So it's like people don't typically even get it because
it's not a strain of
get it. So
it's not a strain of bird flu that's transmissible to humans. Like it exclusively affects industrial chicken houses. So
if chickens eat grass, they don't get it. Like they've never found bird flu in like somebody's backyard flock. It's never fucking happened. It's just the disgusting way they raise these chickens. They have no immune
factory
system.
Chicken. Huh?
Yeah, they destroy their immune systems with medication and vaccines, fecal dust, and no sunlight and no greens. So if you just solve those problems, like our chickens just don't get sick. So it's amazing how easy of a solution is, but it does. Run into some conflict with the whole efficiency thing that we have worked out with this industrial farming system, which I'm glad that food can be that inexpensive for people, but overall, I don't care for the system,
Yeah.
Well, like,
would all of these chain chicken restaurants exist without the factory chicken?
Probably not, at least not at the price. Same with the beef and the fast food. I mean, at least I'm to understand that a lot of the huge CAFO like beef operations are to supply fast food. So it'd at least be more expensive and better quality. Whether or not that's a good or bad thing, it probably depends on who you ask.
Yeah. Well, I mean, that's like a lot of these chicken, the big factory chicken houses are contracted specifically by Tyson, Pilgrims, Purdue, like the big chicken producers. And then, for instance, Tyson's, like my brother ran barns for Tyson for a few years, and you could get discounts on. So you could get like the McDonald's nuggets, or you could get the Wendy's nuggets, or you could get the chicken patty that I can't remember what the restaurant.
I just assumed none of those were chicken.
Yeah, it's all chicken. It's
just
all
the weird parts.
Yeah, gelatinous fillers, but yeah,
it's heavily processed chicken. Like Tyson has the contract for all of those like fast food chains, so so you can get discounts on getting like a whole big giant box of. Gosh, I can't remember what the restaurant was that had the patties, but they were awesome. Like I've never been to a restaurant that had chicken patties that good, but straight from Tyson, they're pretty fucking awesome.
Interesting. I'm trying to hold true to my one visit to fast food per month. So far, I'm doing well 4 months into the year. Cut back on that literal
But
shit
speaking
sometimes.
of destroyed immune systems,
See, I knew that something was in waiting.
you knew I was using the bird flu to set something up.
Yeah, I hooked you up.
White House acknowledges Biden could get COVID, but stresses that he's vaccinated. Like, yes, we're aware he's vaccinated. We've watched him on stage get every one of his vaccines, including both boosters, and even heard him muse out loud with the last one. Why am I on stage for this?
What's going on, guys?
I just realized I didn't have my headphones plugged in. I'm sorry. I hope it hasn't been fucking with the audio.
It's probably no worse than me pounding my coffee cup around. So I had to get it in before Justin did.
We are undergoing like a pretty massive storm. I don't know if y'all can hear the thunder rumbling in the background here, but I feel like it's about to get really nasty outside. And I have to go across the street to do some laundry, so I don't know if I don't know if the laundry is going to get done today or not, because I cannot risk getting out in the rain.
If it's raining, it sounds like the problem solves itself. Throw it on the lawn.
Justin does live on a literal campground. He's like, I got our laundromat over here, a shed over here. We got a pole barn, the main house, the second house.
This is the second house.
Okay.
So anyway, why do you think? Yeah. So Clyde had actually posed the question in the group chat. Why do you think they're acknowledging that Biden could get COVID and stressing that he's vaccinated? Like, are they setting the table for something here?
It's interesting. And here's something that I found in and I don't know if it's this article, but one of them talking about it was just the way like, oh no, he's fine because he was with somebody who had COVID, but only for 15 minutes or less than, all these things that mean he's fine. And I'm like, wait a minute, for 2 years, I couldn't walk a certain direction down a fucking grocery store aisle, because of how dangerous shit is. And they're like, nah, as long as you're not in the same room with somebody for more than 15 minutes and, it's really not that bad, 6 feet, and it's really more like 2 feet, So it's just like, fuck y'all.
Well, and they legitimately have walked all of that back. Like it.
Mm-hmm. The grocery store aisle was always the stupidest one to me.
There's a lot of complexities to if he actually were to get COVID. Like he's actually in that group, and also that
Trump did all right
health category where it could like affect him pretty seriously. Like he's not like when Trump got it, Mr. McDonald's every day and whatever else. He kind of struggled, or that's what we were led to believe anyways. And I don't even know, like, when they do like the public vaccine things, how real those are. You referenced that earlier. Like, is he vaccinated or is he not? I don't know. They could have injected nothing into him.
Yeah, or you get the real one.
The one that only a few people get.
It's funny because you could swap out a Biden. Like, I already think there was a couple fake Bidens, Like, you could do that pretty easily. But you couldn't swap out a Trump, man. Nobody could be that good to take Trump's place.
There's only one Trump.
Yeah, there is.
There do seem to be multiple Bidens as well.
I mean, Biden is a cookie cutter generic politician. He doesn't have a single original thought, except for the ones that they don't want him sharing. And you can put any senile old dude up there and let them just randomly say dumb shit. Like, they could all pass for each other. So as long as they look similar.
What was this thing with Biden and like Obama? Like, wasn't there something like it looked like Obama like snubbed Biden or something? That's some White House thing. I didn't see that. Did you guys see that?
They did the White House thing where they had Obama come in and Biden was just completely confused the whole time. Like, they shouldn't have done that because it threw Biden off. Like, he was walking around introducing himself as Obama's vice president, and then when everybody left, he was going to leave the stage. Like, Biden was really confused and couldn't figure out where he was going and what was going on.
And the press just has always loved and been obsessed with Obama, so they're like surrounding him, and Biden was being ignored.
Yeah,
They're
it
all
was
like fawning over Obama. What was it? Chris Matthews said he had a tingle up his leg that one time when he spoke. So they all had tingles going up their legs and wanted to touch him and look into his eyes.
it was really a bad look. Like they basically just like paraded Obama around and pretended like this entire. I mean, Kamala got snubbed too. Like the entire administration may as well not have even existed as far as that whole event was concerned. It was the Obama show.
No, I think Obama still is the administration. Like he's the guy behind the scenes doing all the work.
You think
I mean,
so?
we all know that already, but
so they're telling the truth.
Yeah, they were kind of saying the quiet parts out loud
to
some extent.
Those were the good old days. When Obama was president. Things were so much simpler. We could just bomb countries and we never had to hear about it, you know?
Right, and if you didn't like the president, it was because you were racist, not for any other. That was it. Like,
even though he got voted in twice by Democratic majority, obviously the majority of America's racist.
A lot of people who voted for Trump in 2016 like voted for Obama, especially like in Michigan and these other like union states.
Yeah,
I'll be right back. Shit's getting out of hand here. I
see the lightning going off back there. Yeah, voted for Obama in 2008, so I'm one of those dirty scoundrels.
I can understand the like 2008 thing though, like, especially after 8 years of Bush.
Mm-hmm.
Like I get it in retrospect, that's for sure.
I was just thinking yesterday how like I really have. And I know that, there's a lot of negative talk about libertarianism these days, but like I do really have that to like thank, I think, for not. I just feel like I could have been so close to going down that kind of like liberally, like path, and I just really have like learning Austrian economics and like personal responsibility that comes with the whole idea behind libertarianism, to really take responsibility for my own life and my own decisions. And sort of get to where I am and give, I'm sure I'm still working through it, but yeah, I just really think of like if I had never read economics in one lesson or something, like where I could be right now, like maybe still watching the Young Turks and shit, like Jesus. So it's
you probably shouldn't admit to that on there. Yeah. No, I'm just kidding.
No, it would have been 10 years ago, when I watched some, of their shit. I just really enjoyed, like the Daily Show, like I really like takedown kind of comedy, in that regard. It's one of the reasons I listen to like Part of the Problem and shit. I like going through some clips and tearing it down, even just for fun, but I really didn't like Republicans. So that was Young Turks. I got that out of it, but then I started going a little libertarian and was like, oh, these guys suck really hard too. Not just Republicans. So.
And you're saying that you have Obama to thank for some of that.
Well, no, I have libertarianism to thank for that.
Well, I mean, I could see where
Obama
like
shattering my,
Yeah, he shattered it with a few bombs. Like I'm sure, like Obama's biggest allure to you was his like peace stance in the campaign, right? Very anti-war stance in the campaign, and then he gets in office and.
I mean, yeah, I guess kind of that, but also it was just, like my family was more like Democrat and stuff growing up too. So it was just, like a Republican just wasn't an option. They hate the environment and they don't like poor people and, this and that. And, I mean, in the early 2000s, I think I can say that if I had to say who was worse, maybe the Republicans were worse then, I think it's definitely not the case now, but like, just my family was just kind of Democrat and shit. And, we were big environmentalists and that was kind of a thing. But then once I learned that, the fucking government sucks in environmentalism, it sort of breaks those ties. And then I voted for Gary Johnson in 2012, just because I wasn't going to vote for a Democrat. And I wasn't going to vote for a Republican. And then, not like I really was that into having a libertarian president, but like, I don't know, you sort of do that once and you're like, okay, yeah, that's pointless, voting for a fucking, third party that is kind of silly.
You see his little 1.5% scrolling at the bottom, and you're like, hey, I just might sit this one, the next few out, the next several out.
Even my thought in voting was like, well, let's get those numbers up, because you hear a lot of people say, well, I'm not going to waste my vote with a third party. And you're like, well, if we'd all vote libertarian and people felt that way, so maybe if we get the numbers up and people see it's more feasible, and that was sort of my thought at the time. I don't know. I'm not ready to go back to politics.
We could tell at the beginning of the stream.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, hey, dude. I mean, I'll say this too. Like with what, some of the people are trying to do, like, I don't know, the Mises GOP and shit. Like, I mean, fuck, dude. I hope it fucking works. Make it work and convince me. I don't know. But I'm not ready to go back to politics yet at all. but
it's
I've
a
always,
division of labor, though. I mean, you
well, I've always said, well, exactly, and that's my thing is, hey, let's all
do your
what we're
farming,
good at.
and they'll do their funding.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, hey, show me something that's worth funding. I don't know. And even when I was more like independent or whatever, it's like, hey, in these small towns and shit, I think that is where like you can get something and make it work, and maybe that can spread. I just feel like if it does start to work, something from a little up higher will stop it, one way or another, like how they do with keeping people off of, debate stages, or what they did to fucking Ron Paul when he was like in second and they were just not mentioning him in the standings. Just,
it was the New Hampshire standings, right? It went from first to third. And it's like, wait, who got second?
Yeah, exactly.
It was like in like in 2016, all the stuff about like let Gary Johnson be on the debate stages and everything. So as Johnson's numbers were gradually trending higher, they kept changing the stipulations for how to get on the debate stage, or then they just stopped like reporting. He had to be polling a certain percentage in these certain polls. So then they just stopped including those polls in what counted towards whether or not you could get on the debate stage, or they started counting the results from the polls differently. Like they started excluding certain demographics that were trending higher for Gary Johnson from the poll. Like it was everything about I actually did quite a bit of research on it because I'm a fucking psychopath. Like everything leading up to the debates of 2016, Gary Johnson was progressively meeting all of the markers that you would need to get on the debate stage. And so then as he got closer to hitting those, they would change the stipulations for how you got on the debate stage. And then he starts hitting those and they start changing it again, or they start excluding stuff, or like the whole thing it's all rigged. And I didn't vote for Gary Johnson and would not to this day because he was a terrible candidate. Like there was,
he just wasn't really good at it, was he?
They never are.
What's he up to these days?
Who knows? What are any
climbing mountains?
What are
his
any
personal
former,
life is pretty like, I don't know. The guy's super fit for how old he is, and climbs mountains and goes on.
Yeah. What's any
marathons.
former libertarian presidential candidate up to these days?
I don't know. Austin Peterson has a radio show.
Was he like the national candidate?
No, he was never the national candidate.
Oh, I was gonna say like.
But I was very confused in I was a confused 24-year-old in 2016, and I really wanted Austin Peterson to win that nomination over Gary Johnson. I think he finished second, right? Second or third.
Who did I like back then? Did I like Jacob Hornberger?
John McAfee.
Yeah, I like John McAfee.
Hornberger was the one that I was kind of pulling for in 2020.
I think I remember listening to some podcasts and shit he was on and liking a cut of his jib. It's been so long now, though, man. What was it? 2020? Maybe it was 2020. Did I listen to podcasts?
Yeah, he was in that cycle.
Yeah, it must have been 2020. God, where's this? I'm sorry. The last like 5 years of my life are just gone, dude. I don't know where they went. It's crazy.
It's what happens when you have goats and chickens and turkeys and do a lot of drugs.
Yep, all those. Oh shit. Well, I was even thinking, like, when did I first meet Clyde? And I was thinking, like, 2 years ago. I got to think, like, no, it was like 4 years ago. I think.
Was it through the show?
Yeah, he had me on because I was a farmer. Who I was actually chatting with Odie, who hooked me up with him to get me on the show, which was kind of cool. Yeah, good times.
Bring this full circle, and you guys are gonna be fighting against each other pretty soon.
Yeah. This here's my land. Oh, fuck.
How did I meet Clyde?
He's all over, man.
Oh, he was commenting on something that I had posted from the Run Your Mouth Coffee page, and then he sent me a message. Oh, it was something about goats and milking goats and making cheese and stuff. So he sent me a message, and I was real confused. And he's like, "It's not John." I was like, "Oh, okay." Like that. Now that makes more sense. And then we chatted from there.
Love at first sight.
Yeah.
Something like that. I was real confused because I know John, and I was like,
The reply didn't sound like him.
yeah, I was like, since when do you know about goats and milking goats and making cheese and stuff like that? And why are you messaging me from the Run Your Mouth Coffee page instead of your own? Or just, send me a text like we do on a regular basis? I was so confused. And then it all began to make sense.
So is your shirt just the typical fuck around and find out? Or is it
Yes, it is.
something else? There it is. It is the Statue of Liberty gun.
With a gun for a dick.
That is some top-notch top lobster right there.
I guess it
Anthony
fits
has
the theme of the show.
Yes.
all I can see is the word fuck though. The whole time it's kind of funny.
That was the point. Just maybe it was fuck on the screen the whole time.
Anthony has a shirt that says fuck around and find out, and he got it when he was over here staying with us, and just him in his tiny frame, wearing that shirt. I put the big Mossberg pump in his hand, and I was like, here, hold this. It was the funniest fucking thing. It was adorable.
I could do this with my spear.
There it is. I liked you posted a picture of a different angle of that room the other day, and I was like, oh, there's the spear just hanging out by the computer.
Yeah, somebody had posted the thing. It was like, you've heard of bathroom gun. I present you bathroom katana. It's like, yeah, office spear. I keep it right here by the desk.
Have you ever seen the Office grenades? It's a can of Febreze with a zip tie zipped around it. You zip tie the trigger and throw it in a room.
All right, I have one more. There's not a good way to transition.
Hey, speaking of,
yes. Speaking of grenades, maybe. Joe, look at this article.
I did not.
Putin and Xi expose the great illusion of capitalism. Unless the U.S. and its allies mobilize to save it, the second great age of globalization is coming to a catastrophic close. So they have to first.
Jesus. Thank you, Jesus. Thank you.
They have to conflate capitalism and globalism together. I think you can't have one without the others, in their opinion. Bloomberg's.
Yeah, I don't know
what's going on.
Define capitalism as they're using it, or
I would say that's their definition, right? Like global capital.
Yeah, just the general state of things.
Is it worth a read? I did not read this. No.
It's there's a lot of Keynesian economics involved in it. It's pretty garbage. If we're being totally, I mean, it's garbage even for Bloomberg, in my opinion. Trying to think of a good way to summarize it without being completely just disparaging of Bloomberg and whoever wrote this, but
that's fine. Just go ahead.
The article is complete fucking trash. Like they act like this globalization and ushering in of legitimate socialism and communism on a worldwide scale is some great thing that's going to be destroyed by the communists of Russia and China. Really, it's the stuff that we've been talking about for some weeks now with the whole Ukrainian conflict. It's the idea that Russia and China and India and some of these other large powers, so to speak, are not on board with this new world order globalization stuff. It's not something that they view as beneficial or working for them. In particular, because, for instance, Russia controls a large section of the energy sector. They have a lot of natural gas and they have a lot of oil, and this globalization thing puts them being the supplier to the world for a lot of that stuff. And they're like, if we're going to be supplying the world, we're going to get fucking paid. And this globalization, like worldwide socialism, communist type thing doesn't benefit us as a country. Same for China. Like China is a huge manufacturer of a whole bunch of dumb bullshit that nobody actually needs. But at the end of the day, everybody wants it. And so if this whole New World Order thing comes to be, then they're having to supply all of that. And China's got a lot of China has a lot of billionaires. China has a lot of people who are very good business people. Like while China's internal economy is kind of not doing great, China has a lot of ability to do big things on a global scale. And if they're being forced into this global socialistic New World Order bullshit, then that hampers their ability to do well for them and theirs. So like they're not on board with any of this shit. And the only reason that a lot of these countries are on board with it, you know, especially Europe and even the USA to some extent, is because we don't make shit. We don't do fucking anything. Like we rely on these others. So of course it makes sense for us as the US and as all the European countries that don't produce a goddamn thing. You need all of those other countries that do produce the things, that do have the things, to be on your side and be a part of this New World Order, because they're the ones who are going to be supplying you everything and you want to get it for cheap. So I get it.
So
wow, I kind of went off there.
Capitalism is increasing the bottom lines of our corporate overlords, political oligarchs, and the banking class.
Sure.
Yeah.
Not socialism. That's not socialism that's doing that.
Speaking of oligarchs, I guess the U.S. is putting out warrants for like Russian property and shit. Like they're seizing. I mean, obviously this isn't new, them seizing the yachts, but yeah, I guess they actually have like. First it was like that's not our policy, and now it's like, oh yeah, we're putting out warrants for if you're Russian and you have money, we're taking your shit. That's fucking crazy, man.
Yeah, well, it's in the Fourth Amendment. We can deal with the 19th later. I mean, the fourth is. Or not in the fourth, but civil asset forfeitures should be taken off the table entirely.
Yeah.
I didn't mean in the fourth. I think the fourth is what protects that, actually.
I got what you're saying.
I thought you were being facetious, but
I was like, wow. This is quite the switch from Justin here. I figure the fourth might be one of his favorites.
Yes, the fourth is one of my favorites. Let's shore up the fourth, and then we can get rid of the 19th.
I'm a big fan of the third.
Invoke and refuse.
Who was it that somebody said that the 17th was the real problem? The 17th empowers the 19th, and I haven't done enough.
I gotta refresh myself on all of these. I'm pretty good on the first 10, but after that, I can't be like, in the 13th, what does that mean? Just kidding. I know what the 13th is, and I did that on purpose. And if we're going to have war in this country, I guess if it's going to be between Georgia and Florida, it might not filter all the way up here, but if it does...
You got to choose a side, man.
That third amendment, I am not quartering soldiers unless it is Dag.
I don't know what he's doing that far up north, but
it's like I just got to come up here for a rest.
I'll be getting up to Kentucky in a couple months.
Oh, you'll be close to my neck of the woods.
Kentucky.
Depending on what part of Kentucky, but I mean, all of Kentucky is within a couple hours of where I'm from, or where I live.
I don't say specifically, but yeah, we're going camping up there.
Oh, you're probably going to be really close to me then, because I highly doubt you're camping in the mountains of eastern Kentucky. I mean, I guess there's a chance, but you seem like a smarter individual than that.
In the deep dark hills of eastern Kentucky.
Yeah, I mean, if you enjoy reliving.
Sorry, I'm bringing up some bluegrass feelings for me here. Sorry.
I mean, you're the one who was playing dueling banjos before we started the stream.
Oh, well, you get me going.
In reality, he's actually camping in Cincinnati, just across the bridge from Kentucky.
Say, if you enjoy reliving Deliverance, then have fun over in Eastern Kentucky. But
that movie wasn't very satisfying. I was hoping it was going to be better for all the references it's gotten over the years.
Yeah, I can see that.
I mean, it did have that scene that you expected that was pretty uncomfortable, but I guess it ruined that actor's career for the rest of his life.
What movie is this?
Deliverance.
Burt Reynolds and but it's the famous dueling banjos kind of, and the whole thing where that ends up being associated with man love.
Oh,
yeah. I keep forgetting how young Mark is.
Yeah, Mark's not ready for the gang rape or the butt rape, whatever.
I could be 57 and I don't think I'd be ready for it. So
yeah, probably a good answer.
So getting back to constitutional amendments, apparently the 17th is what changed it from the states. The states selected their senators to the senators for each state are democratically elected.
Mm-hmm.
So it used to be like the state legislature would select the senators to represent the state, but now it's a democratic process where the people of the state vote for the senators who represent the state. So that's because of the 17th Amendment.
Good old Constitution.
I feel like I should just do an episode where I go through every amendment.
All the amendments.
Just reading them or critiquing them?
A bit of both.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't know that it would be a very engaging episode if I just read them. It's like, okay, we're doing the amendments today, and then I just read all of them and be like, okay, I'm done.
And when you get to the repealing or the alcohol one, not the repealing one, but the alcohol one, you just pick up a can of beer and it's like, and now we come to, was it the 18th? I don't even know.
I think it was the 18th, yeah. I think. And then it was like the 21st or something that repealed it. Yeah. Oh, Prohibition. That was really like the big thing. I was in high school when I, started smoking weed, realized that Prohibition was like nonsense. And that was really like the first, tumbler in the lock, to sort of start getting me there. But yeah, and then I learned like, wait, alcohol is illegal? Like that's retarded, and learned about the disaster that was, yeah, so silly, dude. So fucking silly. I don't know if you guys ever watched Boardwalk Empire, but it's a great fucking show. And this isn't a spoiler because it's like the first scene, but like it's basically like all like the cops and criminals and all of them and politicians in Atlantic City, and they're like, at midnight tonight, Prohibition's gonna go into effect, and we are gonna make so much fucking money. They're like these idiots in Washington. We are gonna keep Atlantic City wetter than a mermaid's twat. Oh, they're just like, yep. And then it goes and even says he's like, before Prohibition, I was just a regular everyday crook. Everything was great. I just ran Atlantic City, and now I gotta be a fucking gangster, and people are dying, and it's just a fucking mess.
That was a really good show.
I fucking loved it.
I think I might need to revisit that one.
Mm-hmm.
So isn't it funny that we get the 18th Amendment prohibiting the manufacture or sale of alcohol, and then we get the 19th Amendment giving women the right to vote? Like, apparently, just like all kinds of bad decisions were being made at this time. Like,
and for political reasons.
I mean, this was the progressive era, right?
Yeah, it was. You could probably argue getting to be the tail end of it. I think some people would argue like the beginning of the 20s were when it ended, and some might be the Depression, or the stock market crash. But yeah, up in there of the late 1800s. There
seems to be some correlation here, because it was January of 1919 was when the 18th Amendment was ratified, which was prohibition.
You said 1918?
1919.
1919.
And then we have August of 1920 was when the 19th Amendment was ratified. And then when did the Great Depression start?
29.
Well, I definitely feel like the prohibition and the women getting the vote thing might have gone. Well, no, they got the vote in 2020. Well, anyhow, might have gone hand in hand because they were all the 1920. Sorry, because they were all the suffragettes and the temperance bitches.
Yeah, they were like poisoning alcohol, weren't they?
That they're smashing up bars and just protesting, and
Like, look, this guy got sick.
Yeah, singing terrible songs. Lips that touch liquor will never touch mine, and the like.
That was a
bunch of
weird
British
era.
bitches.
Yeah. I mean, we're a hard drinking country. I mean, there's probably a lot of problems that might have seemed like they came from alcohol, but probably more came from the fact that dudes worked like 80 hours a week in fucking coal factories and shit. And what else are you gonna do but get piss ass drunk at night, you know? So I'm not saying it was healthy all around, but you know, I guess I could say I get it, you know, in some aspect. But obviously, look what happens. It ends up making worse problems. So. You know, I'm not saying that like people should be doing heroin, but you make it illegal, you're just making the whole fucking problem worse. So I don't know. It's shitty. Life sucks sometimes. I don't know. Sometimes there's just no great answer. You know what I mean?
I'm thinking the 23rd Amendment was pretty fucking bad too.
He's just looking through the list.
Sorry. The 23rd grants the District of Columbia electors in the electoral.
Oh yeah, that was a mistake.
That was definitely a mistake. That might be the most egregious of all of them.
How many electors do they get? Like the same as like a regular state?
I think I think there is a minimum for any state, so they get the minimum. Whatever that is.
Works.
2 or 3, I can't remember. Which, I mean, that's just completely fucking asinine.
Can we each state just be our own country again?
That would be nice.
I mean, it almost would create like a market in governments where you could vote with your feet easily. You know, and it might encourage governments to be better, or maybe not. Maybe they'd all just be awful too. You know.
Yeah, but at least if every state kind of is independent, then if they are awful, there's a good chance that they're going to get overthrown, like either violently or electorally.
Yeah, you can choose your whatever level of awfulness is most palatable to you too. You know, from state to state. So, you know, let New York City do whatever the fuck they want. I don't care. Just keep away from fucking me.
Let me let me get rid of my governor for not get rid of her in a kidnapping sense.
Mm-hmm.
Let me clarify that. Get rid of her first, and then we can switch to the system.
Careful now. That'll land you some time in prison.
Well, I mean,
apparently not. Didn't they all get off?
Yeah, they all got off.
I mean, they should have. Since it was
2 FBI agents got off, and the autists got off as well.
I say they should have gotten off since the whole thing was a setup, and nobody was actually going to be doing anything anyway. But you know, whatever.
Entrapment doesn't exist anymore. It hasn't in a long time.
Well, this was interesting. We I don't know how we spent so much time talking about chickens. I have to go back.
Yeah, well, how did we get on the chicken?
Avian flu, chicken sandwiches, fast food, Chick-fil-A.
Chick-fil-A.
Chick-fil-A prices. Yep.
Yes, that was it.
That's
so it was me again.
And then it was, well, what market are you in, and why is Chick-fil-A so much more expensive for you?
Well, while Dag learns how to play the Florida State anthem on his guitar,
it's hard.
I've got the Georgia State anthem to take us out on our outro.
We don't have Lana Del Rey's national anthem.
Look, if I can make it more than halfway through it, then I might get it.
But I'll send you another song of hers today. I'm trying to get at least one intro or outro with Lena.
All right. Well, we will continue to work on that. But in the meantime, this one's for Clyde.
Georgia, the whole day through. Just an old sweet song keeps Georgia on my mind. Georgia on my mind. I said, Georgia, a song of you comes as sweet and clear as moonlight through the pines.